Drastic weight manipulation is deeply ingrained in the world of MMA. Fighters routinely put their bodies through the ringer to cut weight before stepping on the scale. While effective for competition, the methods used for these extreme cuts can be incredibly dangerous. In this video, we'll look at how and why UFC fighters and other MMA athletes cut so much weight so rapidly leading up to fights. You'll learn about the techniques they use, the toll it takes, and the health risks involved when cutting 15, 20 or even 30 pounds in a short window. The UFC and other MMA promotions utilize weight classes with strict limits to ensure fair matchups. For example, lightweight caps at 155 pounds, welterweight at 170, and heavyweight at 265. Rather than fight at their natural, walking around, weight, athletes want to cut down to the lowest class possible to face smaller opponents. A fighter cutting an extra 10 to 15 pounds gains a sizable physical advantage against someone who cutting little to no weight. Top fighters walk around 15 to 30 pounds heavier than the weight limit for their target division. Featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski weighs around 190 between fights, a full 45 pounds over the 145-pound limit. For these athletes, an extreme weight cut is just part of the preparation for competition. UFC champions have cut over 30 pounds in just 1 week leading up to fights. The more weight cut, the more misery endured. Most of the weight loss process happens gradually in the weeks before weigh-ins. Fighters enter an intense training camp focused on fat loss through strict dieting and exercise. The goal is to get close to their target weight without losing muscle mass and strength. They stick to regimented diets, avoiding junk food, alcohol, and high sodium. Calories are restricted while daily training volume ramps up. Saunas and hot baths may be used to accelerate sweating as well. After dieting down as much as possible, fighters still need to cut those final 5 to 10 pounds of water weight right before stepping on the scale. This phase is where tactics get extreme and riskier. Here's a look at some of the most common methods used to force off excess water weight at the last minute. Severe dehydration, restricting fluids and training intensely in sweatsuits to purge water. Hot baths and saunas, sitting in 120+ degree heat to sweat out pounds for hours. Water pills and diuretics, flushing out sodium and water rapidly but dangerously. Aggressive fasting, consuming 1 small meal per day or less leading up to weigh-ins. Laxatives and enemas, eliminating waste from the bowels to drop pounds. Excessive cardio, overtraining to burn every possible ounce in the final days. These dehydration techniques often leave fighters feeling drained both physically and mentally in the last 24 hours. Headaches, fatigue, cramps and dizziness are common during the brutal final phase. After enduring a miserable week of preparation, athletes step on the scale to see if they made weight. If not, they resort to cutting even more in the final hours by any means necessary. Once weighed in, obtaining fluids and food becomes the priority in the limited time before competition. Some gain over 15 pounds back within 24 hours. Rapid rehydration and replenishment comes with its own risks. The physical toll from aggressive cutting includes exhaustion, decreased performance, cramps, and feeling ill. But the biggest dangers are from long-term health consequences. Dehydration shrinks organs and restricts function, damaging the kidneys. Electrolyte imbalance can cause arrhythmia, low blood pressure, and cardiac issues. Heat stroke risk from prolonged exposure to extreme heat in baths and saunas. Suppressed immune function and increased infection risk. Potential long-term kidney damage or cardiovascular complications. In rare cases, improper weight loss has resulted in death for fighters trying to make weight. Promotions now discourage cuts over 8 to 10% of body weight and require weigh-ins on fight day. While some reforms are being made, extreme weight cutting remains deeply ingrained in the culture of MMA. Fighters damage their bodies because gaining any advantage is prioritized over health. If you must cut weight for competition, do so under strict medical guidance. Don't risk your long-term well-being solely for a couple extra pounds on a scale. With education and priorities focused on safety, hopefully MMA weight cutting becomes a healthier practice over time. But the athlete's mentality of enduring any suffering to gain an edge is difficult to overcome.